The count function is something I often get questions on. There's so many varieties of count. So I'm going to walk through the count function and all the different variations you might come across. The first one I'm going to show you is count that you would use if you are doing numbers. And for this one, I'm going to type it right in the cell here. I'm going to start with equal sign that all our functions start with. And I start typing in the word count. When I see it on the list, just a word to the wise, this is not enter. You actually would double click count from the list, or you could use your keyboard and choose tab. So I'll double click, and then I just want to count how many numbers are in these cells. So it will not count that blank cell for us. Now if I want to stay seated on the cell to see my answer, I'm going to do a control enter. And that drops it in, and I have 5 results, which matches up with these cells. Now, if I wanted to count everything, or I'm counting up text, I would use the count A. So again, I'll do that right in the cell, equals count A. Again, I'll choose it from the list, arrow down and tab. And then this time I'm going to select those text cells and control enter it, and I do get 6 results there. Now, notice I put that it will count non-blanks as well. So you could count everything in there, and you would, anything that was blank would not be selected. Sometimes you want to know how many blanks you have, so use this particular function, count blank. Again, in the cell, equals count. I start to type it, and I see it. I'll pick it, and I will choose that range. If you don't want to use the control enter, another way to do that is with the check mark. So I'll click the check mark this time, and I see a result. I've got 1 blank cell there. The nice thing about these are that they are dynamic. So as things change, for instance, if I were to delete something out of there, then all my numbers change. If I undo that and bring it back, then my numbers change again. Everything's dynamic with your functions. Okay, so this one's a little trickier. I'm going to click on the FX box, and if you've not done one of these before, this is a good one to use the insert function, really anytime you're doing something brand new. If you were to click on the COUNTIF and say OK, it brings you up the arguments box here, and you can pick the different pieces that you want. So to count with the if, I need a range first. So I am going to select this range here, and really what I want to return is a value, how many of these are over 500? So I say greater than 500. And watch what I'll do in the function argument box. I'm actually going to click the tab, and you see that it's going to put little quotes on either side of that criteria. A lot of these functions require you do that, and so this is really helpful if you've never built it before, if you just tab through those different things. You can also see in here you're getting a sample result, and you can also always go to help on this function if you're trying to understand something new. So I say OK right now, and now I'm getting a result that I have 2 from my range here that are greater than 500. Let's do one more. If you have something with multiple criterias, use the COUNTIF. Again, I'll go to the FX, or you could go insert, pardon me, it's on the formulas tab, insert function. COUNTIF, it's brought up things I've looked at recently. And here I've got to name the different criteria pieces I want. My first criteria is going to be from this range here, the names. And I want any criteria that says Justin. And then my second criteria range is here. I want to know if any of those say, whoops, I just clicked off it. Let me fix it. If any of those happen to be over 500 and include Justin. So I'm looking for those 2 bits of criteria. Notice what's happening as I add criteria, it adds more sets of criteria. When I'm done, I can just say, okay, I can leave that last one blank, I'm not using it. And say, okay, now, and now I find out that there is one that meets the criteria of Justin and over 500. And then as I change things here, you'll see that different results are going to be adjusted there based on what I've entered in. Okay, that's all the varieties of count that I can find for you today.